Hello from Master Manio, AKF Lexington Martial Arts, Keto Strong. Hey, I want to talk about respect today. I talk about a lot of different things, and I plan to. Um, but today, it's going to be on respect. Martial arts is known for giving a lot of things to families that makes their lives better or richer or happier, whatever you're looking for. Um, Things like focus and respect, self-discipline, attitude, confidence, leadership skills, school grades improvements, adaptability, home behavior, flexibility, strength, fitness, and on and on and on. What's your reason? Well, maybe it's respect. And to be perfectly honest, I think our world needs a lot more of it. And it starts at home with you. And most likely, you're already doing it with your family. How does martial arts help? Well, we're going to give you another avenue where we can support what you're already trying to do, or we can help to improve what you're trying to do. Or maybe you just need that place where they go and there is some discipline that's going to be put in place with zero gray area. And that's what martial arts is known for. Respect is not, however, it's not respect if it's demanded and if it's forced. That is discipline. And so there's two different things, discipline and respect. But can respect be built out of discipline? Absolutely. If it didn't, I don't think martial arts would still be around. All right, so sometimes being forced to act respectfully is something that is very, very appropriate. Other times, you need to earn that respect. And sometimes it's a little gray area in between. Well, martial arts instructors, the good ones, are going to definitely dabble in all forms of respect. That means they're going to dabble in the I told you to give me this respect, so you're going to do it. Then they're going to have the conversation approach where they're going to decide that they're going together that they're going to give respect to each other. That there's going to be the over emphasized, I'm going to earn your respect, I'm going to earn your respect, I'm going to earn your respect. And for the longest time, they don't give you that respect until they do. And when that respect comes, it's wonderful. There's going to be times where martial arts instructors are going to push your buttons. Not right away, usually. A good martial arts school, it's going to give you discipline, but it's also going to build you as quick as it tries to keep you in line. However, eventually, a good martial arts studio is going to challenge you. It's going to challenge your student. They're going to be put in positions to be wrong or to be right. They're going to be complimented when they're right, and they're going to be corrected when they're wrong. That sometimes means they're going to be made to be uncomfortable. A good martial arts instructor will then, once they create that uncomfortable situation and they create the growing opportunity, they then build on that growing opportunity to try to build that person into the strong, positive person that they can be. So as the martial arts is continuing to build your student, what are some things that you or your student, maybe you are the student, can tell if your respect levels are correct, if you're getting the respect or giving the respect to others that you want? Is your child treating people at school with respect, on their teams with respect? How do people want their input? I love watching the students and they suddenly realize that other students look up to them. They're like, whoa, that's kind of cool. And that is a level of respect they like and they want to earn, and they keep trying to earn it. When your child talks to their friends, do their friends actually listen? When you talk to your friends, do your friends actually listen? That's a sign of respect. If they're actually listening to you, that's a sign of respect. Are your opinions respected even if your friends don't agree with you? Are your children's opinions respected? I love listening to kids talk of all ages. Their conversations fascinate me because they're trying to figure out how to have those lasting memories and reinforce what they think they believe. Most kids in their very adultish conversations, they sound more like their parents because that's what they've heard, and they're trying to figure it out. If their friends knock them down and tell them that that's stupid, that's not a sign of respect. It's also not a good sign for the other student or the other friend that's saying it. Agreed, but it's also a sign that we need to work on building that respect, and we can. All right, and that means not demanding it. That means how do you or your student learn how to present yourself in a manner that earns that respect and reduces the people telling you that you're stupid just because you don't agree with it. I agree with something. How about if your student, if your child makes a decision in a group atmosphere, do the other students tend to support that decision or disagree with that decision? But more importantly, do they do so politely, kindly, at least with empathy? That's a sign of respect if they do. If they don't, we can work on that. And how about with your friends and family? Think about it. We can work on that. Do people want to be around you? Does your student, does your child have people when they walk in the door that light up when they see them? I remember picking up one of my stepkids from the bus stop, and just it blows my mind when they're all like, bye, bye, bye. And I'm like, that's kind of cool. They actually really are going out of their way to make sure that they make that connection before they depart. That's really cool. That's respect. If there's disagreements, if they don't agree with something, do they attack your child? Do your friends attack you, or is there a civil, wonderful conversation that takes place, and you find a solution? Those are signs of respect. How about your friends? Are your friends honest with you? Boy, mine are. Whew. But that's a good thing. All right, listen to your children talk. Are their friends honest with them when they say something wrong or do something to go towards something they shouldn't? Maybe. I think maybe this might be one of the most important signs of respect. Do you respect yourself? Are you trying to make good decisions? Do you truly understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish when you have a conversation? When I say you, I mean your child. When your child has an argument or disagreement about something, is it focused on the disagreement, or is it focused on what the actual purpose of the conversation is? That's not necessarily black or white, right? But you need to make sure that our children are allowed to have their voice. Even if we need to help shape them, inform them, and send them in the right direction, they need to have their voice, and they need to respect their own voice. The first element of confidence is hearing your own voice. They need to be okay with that, and we need to encourage them to speak up nicely and with respect. Let's see. Do they own up to it when they make mistakes? Not just our kids, but their friends. If your children are in a group of friends and somebody makes a mistake, does everybody own up to it, or in general do they all start pointing fingers? Those children who own up to their own mistakes and live with it and deal with the consequences, that's a sign of respect for everybody, not just themselves, definitely for themselves, but it's excellent for the entire group of friends, and that means they respect each other. Are they there when you need help? All right, I'm gonna say that yes, the kids, when they need help, their friends should be there for them. But how about for us? I can't tell you how many times I've needed help. I hate asking for help, but the second that I do, the people who step up, it's always amazing to me. I appreciate absolutely deep in my heart the level of respect that is shown when I ask for help, and the fact that they're there. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today if it wasn't for people that are willing to say, hey, since you finally asked, we're here for you. Thank you. That is an absolute sign of respect. Respectful people. What are some things that make people respectful, and how does martial arts design it? Martial arts is going to put your children in positions to earn respect and even to demand it politely and respectfully, in a manner that allows them to have successes and failures. And that means that we're not going to hide behind a closed door and have an uncomfortable conversation. We're going to correct ourselves in front of everybody on the mat, and we're going to survive the process. It is not the end of the world as long as it's done with respect, and as long as it's done to build back up and build together. And that's what makes great, respectful leaders. A good sign of respect is somebody who makes himself accessible. So if you have a question, if you need something, you need help, they're available to you. Somebody who's grateful, somebody who appreciates you and lets you know that you're appreciated in their life. That's somebody who's respectful. Somebody who's passionate about what they do, passionate about being available to you, passionate about just being able to find the positive in any situation, just passionate about being there. Definitely that's a good sign of courteous. I'm sorry, respect, because courteous is the next one. Courteous is one that's difficult because a lot of times when we don't agree with something or we think somebody's wrong, rather than coming up with a correct, productive way of telling somebody that we disagree, we get nasty, and then as soon as that first insult happens, or even if it was unintentional, then we take it and it starts to grow. A leader who is courteous, a student, a child who is courteous, has a very good chance of taking the next steps into being a very respectful leader, and we will help them and encourage that behavior. How are they when they're taking criticism in, or how are they when they're giving it out? Are they able to take it in and give it out with the same level of understanding and empathy? That's something else that we work on. We actually call it pipping. If you want to know what that is, check into one of our classes someday and come on in. I'll explain that one too. Maybe I'll do a video on that someday. But it means praise, improve, praise. It's just a way of correcting somebody without making them feel bad. Do they practice what they preach? Do they say one thing and then do another, or do they say be respectful to others' feelings and keep their feelings in mind, and then go and chastise somebody and be harsh? Do they take ownership of that and try to correct it? Yeah, look at these behaviors and you can find respect. We look for that all the time, and we challenge it and we test it, and that allows us to consistently ask for consistency, because consistency is important when it comes to showing respect, because it has to be the same. You have to always want to be respectful, otherwise you're going to lose sight of it and it's going to go off the rails and have these really bizarre results. Sometimes this next one can go too far. How about sacrifice? Respectful people will sacrifice their own emotions and feelings about a topic in order to make the better, more so overall group more successful and happy. I don't necessarily always believe that that's what we should be doing. I do believe there's a place for it and there's a limit to how far you should go, and never allow your own personal dignity to be trodden upon in order to get a success or a win. You do need to make sacrifices at times. If you don't, you're going to have a really hard time earning respect and getting respect. If you don't know it, if you can't figure that out, make a comment in the comments below, because I would love to hear you talk to me more about giving sacrifice and making sacrifice in order to make the greater good possible. I'd love to hear more about that from you. But the last one, this is the last thing, and then we'll be done for the day, and that is focus on a solution rather than the problem. That is me in a nutshell. Do I get down? Yes. Do I get frustrated? Yes. Do I get angry? Yes. Do I get extremely happy? Yes. Do I over-celebrate at times? Yes. Do I misspeak at times? Yes. However, I am notorious for focusing on, all right, I made the mistake. What is the solution and how can I fix this? I don't dwell very long on mistakes. I try not to dwell very long on mistakes. Sometimes I really do. If I can't fix it right away, it eats me up. But in general, respectful people are very concerned about finding the solution rather than the problem. It was his fault. It was his fault. It was his fault. Well, okay, it was his fault. Get over it. Let's move on. Now that we know that it's somebody's fault, what's the solution? How do we fix it? That is something that martial artists in my environment are going to be exposed to. If they complain, I'm going to be like, okay, I'll take care of that part. Now, what's the solution? How do we fix this, and how do we move forward? What have we learned from this? In my opinion, if you want to have great respect, the first place you're going to stop is on yourself and what your mindset is. Earn the respect, and I think a first step on that is focus on the solution rather than the problem. Learn from it, grow from it, deal with it, move on with a smile. Let me know what you think.